every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.
Hello and welcome into the Rookie Prospect Profile Series. This is a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. Today we're going to be looking at tight end Cade Stover within the rookie tight end machine learning models. Will Cade Stover shine bright or falter in our fantasy forecast? Stick around to uncover the verdict from our cutting edge machine learning models, which do 1,000 simulations for each season of the prospect's first 4 years in the NFL. Cade Stover comes into the NFL being drafted in the 4th round, pick number 123 by the Houston Texans. Played college football at Ohio State. Comes in at 6'4", 247 pounds. Ran a pretty good 40-yard dash at 4.65. Pretty solid at 247 pounds. College dominator rating 21.1%. College target share 15.4%. Not all that bad. So what is he going to look like in our models? Let's take a peek at him in year 1. And we see a pretty wide range of outcomes here for him. Not very good, just below 3 for his mean and median at 2.98 and 2.85 respectively. 8th best in the class. Maximum output at 7.09 is the 8th best as well. Let's go look at historical comps who hit the particular range or those particular ranges during their rookie season. Let's first look at that 3 fantasy point per game range. All these tight ends in between 2.8 and 3.2 fantasy points per game. Jordan Akins, Steven Anderson, James O'Shaughnessy, Mike Gesicki, John Bates, Jake Ferguson, Daniel Brown, Crockett Gilmore, Jeremy Sprinkle, Levine Toilolo, and Tyler Conklin. Some of those players we see have like year 2, year 3 breakouts. So hopefully we see something similar to that in Cade Stover's profile as we move on. Let's go look at that maximum output, 7.09 in that particular range. We're looking at George Kittle, Zach Ertz, Adam Shaheen, and Noah Fant, all between 6.9 and 7.1. Just below that, Luke Musgrave and Mark Andrews, and TJ Hawkinson and Dallas Goedert. So some pretty solid names in that range if he would hit the 7.09 fantasy points per game output. Again, he was drafted by the Houston Texans, so not a ton of tight end target competition for him there, but a lot of wide receiver target competition for him, as well as some pass catching running backs, or at least Joe Mixon and a pass catching running back. So wouldn't expect a ton out of him in year 1, but maybe as the career goes on, we see a little bit better outcome from him. Getting into year 2, we actually see him take a decline here, kind of getting worse. The number 11 ranked tight end in the class out of 12 in year 2, mean and median in between 2 to 2.2 here. Again, 11th ranked in the class. Maximum output 7.69 is the 10th best in the class. Let's go look at historical comps within the last 11 seasons. Who was hitting right around that 2 to 2.2 fantasy point per game range? We got a lot of tight ends in between exactly 2 and 2.22, which is Eric Saubert, Tyler Conklin, Stone Smart, Foster Moreau, Jarrell Adams, Blake Bell, Alan Cross, Zach Sudfeld, John Bates, Jeremy Sprinkle, Jeremy Ruckert. See a few common names from the year 1 profile. Tyler Conklin, again, more of a later breakout. So maybe we see that from Cade Stover. But the first 2 seasons here, not looking like he's worthwhile to roster even. I'm sure a lot of dynasty players will have him off the roster by the end of year 2 if that's the case. 7.69 for a ceiling. In that particular range, we're looking at Irv Smith, Michael Rivera, Jordan Reed, Zach Ertz at 9 fantasy points per game. And then a little bit below that, Kyle Pitts, Austin Hooper, Cole Kmet, and Cade Otton in between 6.85 and 7.56 fantasy points per game. Hopefully we see a little bit better outcome in year 3. Let's go look at Cade Stover. And we do see a pretty big jump up here in year 3. It says, hey, based off of this profile, we do see in year 3 some pretty solid outcomes. 5th best in the class in terms of mean and median, some of the better low-end outcomes too. So saying he's got a decent floor, and the maximum at 11.52 is a decent ceiling as well. CV at 29.1 is the 2nd best in the class for year 3 and below the 30% threshold that we'd like to see in any data set, let alone one that is as volatile as fantasy points being scored in fantasy football. So Who's hovering historical comps in between, 5.2 to 5.7 range in their third season? Well, not a ton of tight ends hit in between 5 and 6 even. We have 5 of them total who hit in between 5 and 6. David Njoku, Foster Moreau, Trey Burton, Vance McDonald, and O.J. Howard. Again, we kind of see somebody here with a later breakout profile. David Njoku, I know he did have some success in his second season, but kind of found some success later on in his career. Same with Vance McDonald. So it's kind of saying this guy's profile fits a lot of these tight ends who end up having later career breakouts. So kind of interesting there. That max at 11.5 is one of the better ones in the last 11 classes. So we have Cameron Brate and Zach Ertz in their third season hitting 11.4, Travis Kelce hitting 11.6, PJ Hawkinson 12.11. Really good company there. Some of the top 8, top 10 historically in the last 11 draft classes hitting that range. Well, we see another breakout into year 4 for Cade Stover, and unfortunately kind of stays stagnant here, hovering just below 5 fantasy points per game. You see the ranks drop to 6th best in the class, maximum output at 13.45, also the 6th best in the class. Let's go look at historical comps. Who is in between 4.5 to 5 in their 4th season? Maybe we see another profile of a later breakout in that particular range. We got another name in here which will show you a late breakout potential. All at 4.5, we have Ben Broniker, Josh Hill, Nick O'Leary, Hayden Hurst at 4.93. Then we have a late breakout here. 5.2 fantasy points per game in their 4th season was Darren Waller. So again, Cade Stover has the profile of somebody maybe that you can keep an eye on, heading into year 5 or year 6, but certainly has a lot of names that have later breakouts within his profile here. Very interesting one to pay attention to. Let's look at that maximum output at 13.45. Getting inside the top 10 of the last 11 draft classes, but we're looking in that range. Zach Ertz, TJ Hawkinson, Travis Kelce, and Jordan Reed all in that particular range. Don't expect him to hit that particular outcome in his 4th season, but you never know. He does have a kind of a late breakout profile. A lot of players in there, even different ones throughout the years that were like, hey, this guy ended up breaking out a little bit later into his career. So could be one of those late breakout guys. You're probably not going to want him for the first 2 years, but keep him on your mind in terms of, hey, it's a few years from now, this guy looking like he's going to get an opportunity. He could be one that breaks out and has a 1-year wonder type of season. All right, that's going to do it for today's rookie prospect profile on Cade Stover. This is presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.